Welcome back to Iraqi Dinar News, your go-to destination for real financial updates on the ongoing developments surrounding the Iraqi dinar. In today's broadcast, we're diving into a wave of fresh intel, reports, and statements that point to significant movement on the path toward full revaluation. Iraq appears to be edging closer to restoring its national currency to an international exchange rate, a milestone long awaited by investors and observers alike. The key focus now is unlocking full integration into the global forex system, something that hinges heavily on removing the last remaining restrictions on Iraqi banks and expanding their freedom to operate through platforms like SWIFT without foreign oversight. There are strong indicators that this moment is fast approaching. According to veteran dinar analyst Claire, recent press coverage is highlighting how the influence of external actors like Iran is waning in Iraq's internal politics. One article cited by her refers to a shift in parliamentary power dynamics, suggesting that Iranian-backed factions may see their role drop to no more than 30% in the next session. This signals not only a changing political environment but also points to Iraq's increasing independence, a key prerequisite for regaining monetary sovereignty. Analyst militiamen chimed in with a different angle, pointing to Iraq's robust foreign reserves as a stabilizing force. These reserves now enable the Central Bank of Iraq to actively manage exchange rates through open market tools, boosting the purchasing power of the dinar. The underlying message from these developments is clear. Iraq is no longer operating under emergency measures. It is building the financial muscle necessary to compete in global markets. That sentiment is echoed by Frank 26, who cited a recent government meeting chaired by Prime Minister Soudani. The gathering focused on overhauling Iraq's state-owned bank administrations. Soudani has made sweeping decisions that included restructuring the central bank's board. According to Frank 26's interpretation, these decisions stem from earlier input provided by President, who had reservations about certain individuals influencing CBI policy. As a result, Soudani is reportedly clearing out those who may obstruct progress. Meanwhile, Mark Z., another respected voice in the community, was asked whether June could be the moment we've all been waiting for. He responded that the probability of an RV taking place during this window is, in his words, quite high. His sentiment seems to match the growing chorus of voices, suggesting that the puzzle pieces are finally falling into place. Additionally, MNT Goat shared an article citing the United Nations, which acknowledged Iraq's advances in combating money laundering. The UN praised Iraq's adherence to transparency, proper governance, and financial reform, describing these efforts as more than just lip service. The quote from the article affirms that the international community now believes Iraq is regaining its footing and resuming a constructive role in the region and on the global stage. This combination of global recognition, domestic political stabilization, and structural financial readiness all point toward the next major milestone, the revaluation itself. Observers are no longer asking if, but when. With the international community aligning behind Iraq's reforms and the government aggressively taking steps to correct course, the environment for revaluation has never been more favorable. What's especially important to highlight here is that these developments aren't just being whispered in speculative circles. They are being supported by news articles, press briefings, and policy changes. That adds a level of legitimacy that hasn't always been present in previous RV cycles. We're also seeing a growing sense of urgency within Iraq to position itself properly. The removal of remaining restrictions on financial communication systems like SWIFT would be a game changer. For Iraqi banks, it would eliminate the need for constant external monitoring and allow full autonomy in managing cross-border transactions. This is one of the final steps necessary for complete re-entry into the international monetary ecosystem. And while there is no official announcement from the central bank yet, all signs are pointing toward active preparation. The financial infrastructure is in place, political stability is improving, international credibility is rising. These are not conditions for delay, they are signals of acceleration. As the pieces continue to align, it's becoming clear that Iraq is not only preparing for a revaluation, but doing so with a deliberate and structured approach. The actions from leadership at the highest levels suggest that this isn't about political maneuvering. It's about economic sovereignty and international re-engagement. Prime Minister Soudani's restructuring of Iraq's financial governance indicates a commitment to removing any roadblocks to the currency reform agenda. With outdated figures cleared from decision-making bodies, a new chapter is beginning, one driven by competence, cooperation, and strategic execution. Behind the scenes, financial institutions are readying themselves for what could be a historic shift. The Central Bank of Iraq has access to tools and reserves that weren't available just a few years ago. Their ability to intervene in the exchange market using open monetary policy to support the dinar highlights the strength they've quietly accumulated. The reserves are not speculative or inflated. They are based on real export revenue, primarily from oil, and disciplined financial management over the last several years. One of the core conditions for restoring the Iraqi dinar's position on the global stage has been transparency. That's why the acknowledgement from the United Nations is so crucial. When international organizations confirm Iraq's progress in governance, anti-corruption, and monetary reform, it means the world is watching and approving. Iraq is no longer simply catching up. It is becoming a model for how a recovering economy can strategically reposition itself for long-term success. And that's what this moment feels like, not a get-rich-quick promise, but a calculated re-entry into the global market, backed by policies, reserves, and international support. For the Iraqi people, a successful revaluation could mean stronger purchasing power, reduced reliance on the black market, and restored trust in national institutions. For investors who have held dinar with patience, it could represent the payoff for years of disciplined waiting, and for financial institutions across the Middle East and beyond, it means a more balanced partner ready to contribute to economic stability in the region. Yet, even as momentum builds, caution remains necessary. There's no official date announced, no fixed rate has been confirmed. The system is still undergoing final adjustments. Those who attempt to jump ahead of the process by engaging in private exchanges or responding to offers from unofficial brokers risk not only financial loss but potential legal consequences. Until the Central Bank of Iraq or the Ministry of Finance makes a formal declaration, the safest course is to observe, learn, and prepare. It's also essential to understand that a revaluation of this scale won't unfold in a single announcement. Experts anticipate that Iraq may introduce a multi-phase transition. It might start with internal recalibration at the institutional level, followed by controlled public engagement, and eventually open access across global forex platforms. That kind of rollout reduces volatility and ensures that all parties, from banks to citizens, are informed and protected at each stage. Meanwhile, new discussions are beginning to emerge about Iraq's potential role in broader economic alliances. With improved reserves, stronger governance, and increasing foreign interest, Iraq could soon play a more central role in regional trade and investment deals. Several Gulf countries are reportedly monitoring the dinar's trajectory closely, considering how this change might influence cross-border banking, energy trading, and foreign direct investment. The larger message is this: the revaluation is no longer just a hopeful theory, it is a policy pathway supported by institutional readiness, political will, and international validation. Iraq is no longer being babysat by foreign powers. It is managing its own affairs and preparing to rejoin the world on its own terms. For viewers of Iraqi Dinar News, this is the time to stay vigilant. Don't get swept up by exaggerated claims or hype-driven promises. Watch for real signals like statements from the CBI, updates from the Ministry of Finance, and verified changes in global banking access. If the RV is confirmed, those announcements will come from the top, with procedures everyone can follow safely. The transformation we are witnessing isn't temporary. It's built on years of structural changes, reserve accumulation, and leadership reform. For the first time in a long time, the revaluation no longer feels like a question of possibility. It feels like a matter of timing. Whether the official activation happens this month or in the near future, the groundwork is already complete. The direction is clear, and the final steps are now in motion. Thank you for staying informed with Iraqi Dinar News. If you found this update helpful, remember to subscribe and share it with others who are following the journey. Stay grounded, stay prepared, and most importantly, stay focused on facts, not fantasy. Because the future of the dinar is no longer being imagined. It's being implemented,